Hey Life Warrior, quick question. Have you ever started something really strong with that gusto in your commitment only to fall off after a few weeks or a month or two? It's happened to me too. This verse that I want to share with you today for our Monday message reminds us in yoga and in life, consistency matters more than intensity. Welcome to your Monday message. I am Dharma Shakti, your host with your weekly dose of something inspirational, where we blend spiritual development and personal development so that you live a full, thriving, fulfilled life as you grow and heal and transform. Here we are taking yogic philosophy, yogic wisdom, and learning how to apply it for our personal development, really taking ancient wisdom and applying it to modern life. So let's unpack this verse. Hatha Yoga Pradīpikā, chapter 1, verse 64. Yogasya nityatvam iti niyamat. It translates roughly as, regularity is the secret of success in yoga. Regularity is the secret of success in yoga. Not your pretty back bends and not your fancy handstands or your very impressive jump throughs, but regularity is the secret of success in yoga. Let's unpack this a little bit more. I want to do a breakdown of the Sanskrit for my yoga nerds out there. High five, I am right there with you. So to really, teach this ancient wisdom in a really authentic way, I am always going to include the Sanskrit breakdown of each of these words. All right, so if you're not interested in that, just skip this part. But if you're like me and you like to get into this nitty-gritty of it, take some notes. First word here is yogasya. This means of yoga. Okay, then we have nityatvam. This means regularity or steadiness. Iti is a word to mean thus or so. And then we have niyamat. This is by discipline or observance. And so a simple explanation for this verse in a way that you can apply to your modern day life. What does this mean for you? Not just on your mat, but more importantly, off your mat. It's trying to communicate in the Hatha Yoga Pradīpikā. It's really trying to communicate to you that success in yoga is not about pushing harder. It's really about showing up regularly. We live in a culture that has really glorified the grind and the hustle. And I'm not saying that that is inherently bad, but when it comes to yoga, let me even break it down a little bit more. When it comes to your healing, when it comes to your transformation, when it comes to your growth, sometimes pushing harder is not the answer. It actually leads to injury or more suffering. Hatha Yoga Pradīpikā is reminding us that the growth that we're looking for really comes by showing up regularly. I'll just share really quickly a quote from one of my mentors that has stuck with me. He was wanting to share with us the shortcut. He said to the room, "Would you like to know the shortcut to success?" And we all perked up and we're like, "Yes, absolutely. Tell us now." And he said, "The shortcut is the long route." Now, my mentor here is not a yoga teacher, but I definitely was like, this guy is a yogi. He gets it. The shortcut is the long route. This is just the way. The best, most sustainable path of longevity to your growth and to your healing and to your transformation is by showing up regularly. So let's unpack this a little bit more, but in a way that you can really apply to your day-to-day life, because I don't want to just give you this information. I want you to have information that you can apply, because transformation requires application. So let's talk about how we can apply this, or what this might look like in your day-to-day. So 5 key points from this verse that we can kind of glean, like some real nuggets of wisdom that are really applicable in your day-to-day. Not so much on your yoga mat, but you can definitely practice these things on your yoga mat. Okay? Yoga really wasn't intended to be done just in the asana room on our yoga mats. The teachings and philosophies of yoga are really about how to live your everyday life. I like to tell my students often, if your yoga practice isn't changing your life, the way that you're living your life, you're just doing fancy exercise. So it's important. The change in our lives comes from when we understand these concepts and we apply them off our mat. However, we can practice these concepts on our mat. Like that's the safe playground where we get to put these things into play with the postures and the breathing and the focus that we do, so that we can strengthen those muscles in order to apply them in our day-to-day life. Okay? That regularity of practice on the mat, that practice makes permanent. The more we practice it on our mat, the more we're going to practice it in our daily life. The more we practice it in our daily life, the more we can practice it on our mat, and everything is benefiting and growing and healing and transforming. So here are 5 main points for you to apply in your life, okay? Small steps daily beat the occasional extremes. We want the life hacks. We want, to go on those deep dives and have like that big, what's the word I'm looking for? We want to have that big sort of like epiphany experience. We want to have the moment. And change in our lives doesn't really happen that way. It can. We can have those big moments, right? Those things can happen. However, we're waiting for these like random big moments to happen. And really, it's the small steps, the small things that we do daily that really compound over time and give us a steady longevity in our transformation and our growth and our healing that we're looking for. I like to talk about this quote. In fact, I made a Monday message about this quote maybe last year. You can search back on my YouTube channel. This quote that says, "Big doors swing on small hinges." We want these big doors of growth to open up for us. We want these big doors of healing to open up for us. And we want to walk through those big doors that swing open for transformation. But those big doors, no matter how big they are resting and swinging and moving on the small hinges. And those small hinges are the small steps that we take daily that allow those big doors to open. Okay, we're looking for the big doors, but really we need to be leveraging those small hinges. That's how those big doors open. Point number 2, discipline creates momentum. If you really want to feel like you're getting somewhere, going somewhere, on your way somewhere, you're feeling like you're finding your groove in it, discipline creates that momentum. Discipline creates momentum. Discipline, right? And I know that sometimes we have an association with this word. My last video, we talked about it a little bit. I think that some of us associate discipline with like our punishment. When we were kids, we got disciplined. We got punished, right? We weren't behaving well and we got disciplined by our parents, which meant punishment. And so we have to reframe this in our mind that discipline is just being a disciple of yourself, as Osho says, really showing up and making a commitment to following the things that your heart is calling you to do, and keeping the commitments that you make to yourself. That's real discipline. Keeping the commitments you make to yourself. All right, point number 3, consistency builds trust with yourself. I almost got a little ahead of my bullet list here, because when we keep the commitments that we make to ourselves, that consistency, it does build trust and confidence in ourselves. Think about somebody in your life who has been inconsistent with you. You're less likely to rely on them or trust them or feel safe with them emotionally or just with your time, because they make a promise and they break it. When you break the promises that you make to yourself, you're breaking down the trust, you're chopping away at the confidence in yourself. So consistency builds trust with yourself. And remember, we're talking about small steps, steady, small, consistent steps. All right, don't make big promises. Make promises that you can keep. Point number 4, regular practice transforms both your body and your mind. A regular practice. So not only does discipline around our habits and our patterns and our routines create momentum for us, but that regular practice begins to transform both body and mind. When you have a space that you practice in regularly, for example, at the yoga studio that I teach at, the students come in, the ones that are regular, we sit down, we start class, they can drop in deep very quick because they come regularly. And the body, the nervous system, it all starts to be very familiar with that. And so it's like, oh, I know what we're doing, and it drops in quickly. Okay, as opposed to when you're in a new space where there's inconsistency, it's really hard. So if you can create a space in your home where you meditate, or a space in your home where you journal, or a place where you do your yoga practice, or the same time of day, or the same days of the week, in any small way, finding a way to create regularity. Regularity doesn't have to mean 7 days a week, always the same day, same time. There's many ways that you can create regular practice for yourself. It could just be that 1 day a week where you show up to the yoga studio, or you show up on your meditation cushion, or you sit down to do your gratitude journal. That regularity. Again, it can be a small start of regularity. It does not have to be an overcommitment of 7 days a week I'm doing this thing. I recommend small steps. It's going to lead to those big doors opening, I promise you. So regular practice will transform both body and mind. Point number 5, sustainable routines create spiritual depth. So again, as I was just touching on, we want sustainable routines because that's going to give you spiritual depth. Sustainable means it's going to stay consistent. And you need to commit to something that is sustainable so you can stay consistent, because that consistency of your discipline gives you spiritual depth as well as momentum and transforming the body and the mind. This is a really simple verse, but it's just packed with so much potency. So one thing that I really love about yoga philosophy is you get these little simple verses and they're just pregnant with information. So let me just kind of move down my itinerary for you in this video, these points that I want to make for you. So how do we take these concepts and have a modern application for them? One of our mottos at Yogalution Movement is ancient wisdom for modern living, right? So culture teachings for modern times. We really want to take these ancient philosophies, but they're still very applicable to our modern day, which is the beauty of yoga. So how does this apply to you now? Like, what does that look like on the day to day, wherever you're at, whatever kind of life you're living? It might look like 10 minutes of daily meditation. If you meditated 10 minutes every day, that's 2 hours of meditation once a month. It might look like a 20-minute morning movement practice of some asana. Okay, it can look like doing your 10 minutes of japa mantra. It can be 5 minutes of prayer. It could be 15 minutes of journaling. Something consistent. Journaling a little every day builds clarity faster than sporadic breakthroughs. So when you can journal every day, you will be amazed, because journaling is a great way to regularly be in self-reflection. Journaling about yourself and what you're thinking and what you're questioning and what you're feeling and what you're desiring and what you're moving towards and where you're stuck. So journaling a little every day builds clarity faster than hoping for those sporadic breakthroughs. Okay, so how does this fit into your modern day? I want you to find something that you can do a couple times a week or 5 days a week. I don't recommend that you start 7 days a week. I think start somewhere that is sustainable and doable, where you can make a commitment and keep that promise to yourself, because it's doable. It's not overwhelming and you don't feel the pressure and you're not stressed out about doing it. And we can gradually build on that once we create a really steady pattern. So on that note of journaling, in each of these Monday messages, because I really, really want you to start thinking deeper, I want you to start thinking about how this applies to you. So if you're not going to sit down and journal, you can just take a moment to ponder with me here. And if you have time to journal about this later, I am going to drop this journal prompt and these questions down in the description box below, and there will be a deeper dive PDF journal prompt that you can access. I'll put the link down below for you as well. So just take a moment to ask yourself this question: where in my life would consistency support me more than intensity? We live in a culture that is all about the grind and the hustle culture and go big or go home, and there's so many other sayings that I'm not going to say here. I'm filtering myself right now. But we have such a conditioning in our culture to like just go big and be so intense and just be all out and all in. And there may be times that that is appropriate or necessary. However, for sustained growth and sustained development and sustained healing and sustained transformation in your life, I want you to really think, where in my life would consistency support me more than intensity? Consistency is starting small. Where would that support you more than like every now and then feeling like, oh shit, I didn't go to the gym at all in the last 2 weeks, so let me just go to the gym and bang it out and like really do something crazy. Like, where can you be consistent? It's going to give you such more growth and longevity and sustainability to your growth. I know I'm being repetitive. I'm trying to really drive these points home. Okay, here's some other reflective questions that you can sit with. What do I practice daily without fail? What do I practice daily without fail? You might have some good practices that you do. You also might have some practices and habits that maybe aren't so great for you that you practice daily without fail. And you might want to look at those. Like, is that consistent habit serving me? Do I need to change it? Next, ask yourself, where do I stop and start, and why? Where do I stop and start? Like, what is it about starting off really strong with a lot of commitment and enthusiasm, and then I kind of fall off? Why is that? What's going on around that start and stop? What's happening? Just take a moment to reflect. Don't come up with an explanation. I want you to just really connect with like, why do I do that? What is my deal with keeping commitments to myself? And just kind of get curious. Reflective question number 3. What small daily act could really anchor me? What's a small daily act that could anchor me? I know for myself right now, I'm about to recommit to a simple morning sort of prayer and intention setting practice. I used to do this a lot. I've gotten away from it, and I'm ready to dive back in. I might add some japa mantra in there and get back to doing my japa every day. I know when I was doing those things, my life was very different. I felt very different in my life, and I know how powerful and potent they are. So that's what works for me. What small daily act for you can really anchor you? Anchor you into your center, anchor you into your source, anchor you into your life, 2 feet planted in the life that you're living, ready to charge forward. What's going to anchor you? And my last little words of encouragement for you, just a reminder after all of this conversation. Consistency isn't perfection, it's devotion. Right? Consistency isn't perfection. It's not about doing it perfect. It's really about being devoted to something. Are you devoted to yourself? I even think devotion supersedes the word loyalty. Like, are you loyal to yourself? Loyalty sometimes implies an obligation, where devotion implies it's out of love. It's coming from the heart. That's why I love Bhakti Yoga so much. So can you, from a place of devotion, commit to consistency? And don't worry about it being perfect or imperfect, but just show up with that devotion. And I'll just also add in here the great words of the Buddha. Always be willing to begin again. Always be willing to begin again. And if you can be willing to begin again, you will forge a path of consistency for yourself. Okay, Life Warrior, if you're enjoying this content and this new approach to my Monday messages with the yoga philosophy and personal development, I got a whole lot of new things that I am rolling out for you. I've just created a new thing, and I'd love for you to check it out. You can click the link down below to visit my new free platform. It's a very free platform. You can become a member. It's totally free. And in this platform, you can access the journal downloads that are a deeper dive. So I've offered you some journal prompts here, which will be in the description box below. But in the new platform, where you can find my Empowered Living community, there will be the link for the deeper dive journal prompts. It's a downloadable PDF that you can print and keep, which I do recommend doing. And you can also check out all my other free content that I will be posting there alongside my new offerings. So I have some new content that I'm rolling out that'll be free. And if you're a life warrior, an everyday yoga student who is looking for change and growth and transformation in your life, I really want to invite you to think about joining my weekly group coaching program, The Empowered Way. If you're a light leader, a yoga teacher, or a healer, the group coaching would serve you well also. And if you want to dive in and really get going, I am also available for one-on-one coaching to help you live with more purpose, to lead with more authenticity, and to tap into your courage and flow through life with confidence. I am here to serve your growth and your transformation, and if you are interested above and beyond these Monday messages, join my school platform and get connected and start your journey with me today. The link for that free platform to join my Empowered Living community will be down below in the description box. I'd love to see you there, and I'd love to get your feedback about this new project that I am rolling out. Check it out. Do me a favor, just join, check it out. I'd love to work with you. I'm going to be putting a lot of free content on there, as well as some other offerings that you might be interested in. Last but not least, let me just close it out with this. Transformation comes not from doing more, but from doing what matters, again and again. I hope that you enjoyed today's Monday message, or whatever day you are watching this video. It's always great to be here with you and share in this beautiful ancient wisdom so that we can really change the way that we are living our modern lives. I'm cheering you on. I'm rooting for you. I am on the sideline saying, yes, fight that good fight, life warrior. So thanks for dropping in and listening to this video, and please drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, and what you liked, maybe what you're struggling with, or even what you didn't like. I'll hear that out too. And do me a favor, hit the like button. Maybe you want to hit the subscribe button, and you can get notified when my new messages come out. But again, all my messages will be placed in the school platform, and they go out in my newsletter as well. So just get connected. I'm trying to be consistent with you all. And I'd love to maintain consistency with you. Let me help you. Let me empower you in living a more consistent life. Join the platform. Otherwise, I will see you next Monday. Have an amazing week. And I hope that you just take some time to think about the small things that you can do that will really anchor you in consistency in your own life. So much love from my heart to yours. Peace and blessings, and namaste.